There's no easy way out. I just wanna know there's no easy way out. No easy way out. I'm not asking for another chance.
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Easy Way Out podcast. My name is Tony Nash, and we are coming to you, as always, from the Woodworth building in beautiful downtown Owasso, home to my company, AZ Business Solutions, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. So I'm joined today by a familiar face in our community, Mr. Jeff McIntyre. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tony. I'm glad to be on finally.
Yeah, it's good to have you. We've talked about this for a while, but haven't really been able to make it happen. We actually have a list of people we want to have on the show, and this is episode number 99. And we've only had a few guests on. There's been a few people that have done 2 episodes, but most of that was because we kind of did this special thing during COVID. But to think that we've had that many different people on the show, and we still have a list of probably 30 or 40 more that we want to have. There's just some cool people in our town. So, you know, we've enjoyed being able to get to know people on this level, and we're glad we finally got you on episode 99, one before 100. So
I love it. That's a good number.
We're going to take a little break here after this episode because we're actually working on something very special for episode 100 that we're trying to make happen. And it's a long shot, but we'll see if we can make it work. And so look forward to that. So we actually met through the comms. Well, I mean, we met when we were younger. We played some ball together and had some good battles back in the Little League field. But as adults, I was running the Comstock, and you are related to the owners by marriage, and so we used to come in there a lot, and we used to kind of interact there. But now you are the owner of Homefield Michigan Real Estate Consultants, and you are the broker owner and the team lead at Jeff McIntyre Group. So we'll get into all what that is. But before we do that, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
I think the easiest thing to say is born and raised here in Owasso. I've been here all my life except for 3 short years in the United States Army, but came right back here. The truth is, my plan wasn't really to be here.
Nobody's plan is to.
But I met this girl, and
Typical story.
Yeah. We've been married 25 years now. Raised our kids here, and that's kind of what we're all about. This community is part of our extended family, and we're not going anywhere, and we want to do our part to make it better.
It really is a great place to raise a family. You know, I think when you're younger, you're like, there's got to be something more for me. You know, there's the Owasso is just a small town, and we got to get out. But, you know, everyone goes away for a little bit, and then they seem to, most of the time, come back. It's like a homing beacon goes off. And, you know, I came back from New York because I wanted to raise my family here. And I love the community, and I love, the people. I love walking into the store and running into people that you know, and everything's just familiar. You know, when I lived out of state, it's just like you didn't know where anything was. You didn't have like a guy that does this, or you don't have that guy. And so here, it's just the familiarity is pretty awesome. So tell us a little bit about Homefield and what you guys do there. I mean, obviously the name is a little self-explanatory, but tell us a little bit about what you guys do and what you service.
A little bit. I mean, I think you can sum it up and say we're a real estate company, but we consider ourselves consultants, and it was important that I threw that word into our company name because we do take the time to sit down, understand our clients' needs. You know, every house is different, every seller's situation is different, every buyer's situation is different, and we can't really service our clients until we know the full story. So we want to take the opportunity to sit down. It's required of our clients. We sit down. Yeah. We have a comfortable arrangement at the office, couch, TV in front of us, and just sit and talk about what it is they're looking for and why. And that helps us shape a picture of how we can best help them. Gives them an opportunity to ask questions about the process that they might not know. But it's all about open dialogue. Anyway, that's our whole theory there, is just make sure we fully understand what our clients need before we start throwing out advice.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough thing. I mean, going into buying a house, most people don't really know what to expect. There's so many more things. I mean, we just bought a house 2 years ago, and going through the process of that again is just like, you don't realize how much is involved with actually making something like happen. So having someone that helps kind of walk you through the process is great. So then what is the Jeff McIntyre Group?
McIntyre Group is our, I call it our training ground. Okay. When we bring brand new agents into the company, we bring them through the Jeff McIntyre group. That way, me as the broker can carry the burden of the training and the responsibility to make sure that they know everything they need to know and understand our processes and everything. So that way our experienced agents aren't being pulled down by a lot of questions, and they can go do what they do best, and that's build relationships and sell homes.
Sure.
So the Jeff McIntyre group is sort of a training ground, but one of the cool things about that is the fact that my clients then will get sort of more than one. They get a full team. When schedules don't align for a buyer, especially in a market like this where it's hot, there's high demand for listings still. They need more than one person's schedule available to them to be able to get into these houses. I never want us to be the reason they didn't get into a house on time.
Sure.
So they definitely, and then our whole company has a customer care coordinator, Andrea, who I always give credit to driving the ship. She's kind of the office mom, so to speak, although she's not the oldest in our office. That's right. But we get a full team representation for our clients that way. So
very cool. So what is it that got you into real estate? I mean, I know you haven't done this forever, but what is it that got you into real estate? What is it you like about this career?
Well, I love the idea of, and it's so cliched, it's to help people, get into their homes or whatever. But the thing for me is that the people I know, the people that are in my circle, I know that I am going to do the best job for them. And this is no dig on any other real estate agent in town. We have a lot of great real estate agents, a lot of great brokerages. But because I know them, I know their background, I've known them X number of years, or they're a friend of the family or whatever, I'm going to take care of them because of that reason alone.
Yeah.
And that ultimately is what I get out of the business. But the reason I got into the business to begin with was when we started our family, I was commuting an hour away. I was leaving 4 o'clock in the morning, not getting back till 7, 8 o'clock at night. And, my oldest daughter was born, and I wasn't seeing her all that much in the first 6 months to a year of her life. Mm-hmm. So I got to do something different. I have to. Talk about a magnet or a beacon pulling you home, knowing I'm commuted, an hour away or whatever. My kid's sitting at home, and I don't get to spend all that time with her. I just had to make a change, and I happened to be one of my best friend's mom was a real estate agent. She got licensed when we were in high school, and so I knew a little bit about the business.
Right.
But she got me into the business. I shout out to Bonnie Snyder. It was Northside Real Estate back then, or Northside Realty. But and that's what it's offered me, is not just the flexibility, but there wasn't a single field trip that I missed. A chaperone opportunity for both my girls. I never missed a single thing. So if that's all I ever got out of the business from here, I'd be a happy man.
It's worth it. Yeah. And, I think people have to understand what season of life you're in. And, as you start having kids, everything really changes. If you want to be present and you have such a small window. I mean, I have 2 in college and one's getting ready to graduate high school. And he's going to Japan for 3 months. And it's I have 6, but 3 of them are, they're done. They're gone. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'll never see them again, but my time with them, my time of coaching their ball teams or, going on vacations with them or doing these things, it's gone. It goes by so quickly. And, when you walk in, you see a big canvas that says, remember why you started. And I have that because it's one of the first things I designed, because I want to always remember, the reason I started this company. Before this, I was in hotels, mm-hmm. and man, that is a demanding career. It's 24/7. It never closes, and so middle of the night phone calls, middle of the night problems, 7 days a week. And even if you try to have a staff trained to handle things while you're not there, the phone never stops. And even when you're not at work, you're at work, and even when you're on vacation, you're getting calls, and it just never ends. And I miss so much when my kids were little. And I really do. And I try not to live life with regrets, but, I realize the season of life I'm in, I need to be a dad first and foremost. I need to be happy. Right now I coach, my boys' basketball teams, which takes an incredible amount of my time. And there are some sacrifices I have to make even here at the company that, but I always tell the staff, that's non-negotiable. That to me is more important than anything I got going here, because it gives me that time with those kids. So, whatever you're doing in terms of career or entrepreneurial endeavor, I think it's important to have a reason why you did it, because those times when either you have this big opportunity that could change the face of the company and take you in another direction, but it doesn't really fit the season of life you're in, or, the opposite of that, where it's I got to buckle down and do this. Knowing why you're doing it, I think always helps keep you on the right track.
Couldn't agree more.
And it helps, keep you happy when you're getting to do those things that you value, So, well, what is going on today with Home Field? Like, what are some things that you have going on, and what do you want people in our community to know about your business?
Yeah, thanks for that question. That's an awesome softball. I appreciate that.
No problem, man.
No, that's really it. Is navigating the market right now. There's a lot of change, and we're in a weird situation with the market. Are we still a seller's market? Is it shifting to a buyer's market? A lot of people have those questions. We have answers. We work in the market every day. And we just want people to call us and talk about it. Please don't trust the national media.
Yeah.
And it's not that the national media doesn't make money on giving advice. They make money on headlines,
provocative headlines.
And here we are in Shiawassee County, or mid-Michigan for that matter. And I can promise you that the market conditions here are not the same as Los Angeles or New York, and that's where those articles are really targeting. So. Ask a local expert at a minimum. Ask us. It's something we pride ourselves in, is understanding the market and staying a step ahead of what's coming. Because by the time you see a trend, it's too late already. So that's really what we see as our strength, is the consultation and understanding the market and how to use it best for your situation, whether you're a buyer or a seller.
So if someone is like maybe just interested in whether or not they should sell their house, maybe they haven't made a decision, I mean, can they reach out to you just to ask questions about what the right time is and all that? Absolutely.
That's one of our favorite conversations to have, frankly. Sometimes we can't give the best advice until we get an opportunity to walk through the house and see the situation, but that's how we start, is a conversation. Give us a call. Yeah.
Sure. So, who is the person or people that should be reaching out to you guys right now?
Right now, definitely somebody that's considering selling their home in the next year or two even. You want to get ahead of that game, like I said, and we want to understand what's coming. And the home buyer, period, any home buyer, whether it's a first-time home buyer or they're a seasoned homeowner, again, these market conditions aren't something we've seen in a generation or so,
right.
At least the position we're sitting in at the moment. This is all cyclical, and things are going to change. They're in the process of changing. So there's a lot of assumptions that we hear from people that are just incorrect and could cost them a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're hearing, of course, you talk about national media, but you're hearing in the national media that, the fall of this year could be, a recession like we haven't seen in a long time. Are you hearing these same things in the real estate market? Do you have some advice for people in terms of preparing themselves for that?
Well, first of all, we need to understand that a bubble is very unlikely. We're just not in that same situation that would cause a bubble to burst and then slide into a recession. Now, there may be an economic recession, but I don't believe it's going to be impactful on the real estate market in the way that the previous recession was.
Sure.
As long as we are high demand and low inventory, period, there is no bubble. There is no bubble. You need a surplus of inventory before there's a bubble.
So this is why it's good to reach out to a professional to have these conversations with them, because I think a lot of times people's instinct, if you watch too much media, is just to panic. And,
Absolutely.
Panic sells papers, panic sells clicks, panic sells views. So I think they like to get people scared. It's what makes people go and buy all the eggs and go buy all the toilet paper, So I think talk to a professional and someone that can help you. And Jeff McIntyre is a good resource for that. So let's get to know a little bit about you, as people think about who's going to sell my house, who am I going to buy a house from. Some people have that person already locked in. Some people just talk to a friend or family member. But, I think it's important, whoever you use to do a decision like that, it's someone that you can know and trust. So I want to give our audience a little opportunity to get to know you a little bit. We send all of our guests a questionnaire that they fill out, and you filled yours out. And so we just kind of go through those and talk about your answers and let you elaborate on those a little bit. So we get to know the man, Jeff McIntyre. And the first question we always ask is, what's the favorite place you've ever been? You said the mountains out west, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. I wouldn't want to give you the exact location of my exact favorite spot. Too many people would flock there, but we have some photos here. So I'm going to pull up these photos, and our audience will be able to see these. You already have these.
I do.
But this is pretty peaceful looking. So you said you don't want to give us the exact location, but what is it that you love about this? It's pretty solid. Solitude, is that the word I'm looking for?
Solitary, definitely.
Solitary, yeah.
On that trip in particular, I spent 8 of the 9 nights falling asleep next to a mountain stream. Just a fantastic way to fall asleep. No other noises except for a few birds in the mountain stream. But that spot in particular, with that rock formation across the river there, was
that's
just incredible.
crazy.
And that's not something we expected. That wasn't some huge landmark that was, marked on our maps or anything
You
like that.
just hike out and find that spot and set up camp? Or?
We drove National Forest Service roads to get there, and there was actually not a dispersed camping site, but sort of an organized campsite there.
Okay.
Just incredible. The night views.
We would consider that a rustic campsite.
Definitely rustic. Definitely rustic. And the hiking right in that same area. We did do a day hike right off of that site. Was incredible as well. I was eating gooseberries, wild raspberries, and strawberries, goji berries, just all over off the trails in the mountains there. It was just incredible.
I mean, that's a unique experience that some people would love and some people would hate. Is this something that your wife and your kids enjoy too? Or is this more of like, this is my thing?
This is mostly my thing.
Yeah.
But, happens to be my wife and kids have seasonal allergies like you wouldn't believe. So getting up into the mountains is not great for them. But it's something I enjoy fully, yeah.
You just like the peace and quiet of it? You just like the nature part of it? All of the above?
All the above.
Yeah.
All the above.
Yeah, I mean, that night sky is incredible.
Absolutely. You see the Starlink there.
Yeah, the stars. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, I've done some hiking in northern Michigan and stayed in some pretty rustic areas next to water. Of course, up there at night, it gets so cold. I mean, is it cold there at night?
We were there in July, and I believe it got down into the 50s
not
at
too
the
bad.
lowest. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, the last time I was up near the UP, we hiked out about, 5 or 6 hours into the woods. And, basically we're going to be there for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you can fit in your pack, that's what you'd live off of. And, man, at night it got down to like 17, 18 degrees and you got a 10-degree bag and it's still like, you got to go to the bathroom and you're like, I got to hold it because I don't want to get out of this bag. And it is a cool, like the first time I went, I was like, because I'm not like a peace and quiet guy. I like to be around noise. When I'm reading a book, I want there to be music on in the background or a podcast playing or the TV. When I'm working, I want there to be noise. I don't do well in silence. I never have for some reason. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like just sitting out in the woods. And we hiked out with some friends and loved the hike. That was a lot of fun. We got there. We set up our tents, got all that. That was fun. And then it's like, now you just sit here. What are we going to do for the next 2 days? And for the first couple hours, I'm like, dude, this is like so boring. And then all of a sudden, I just got to a point where I'm like, this is awesome. This is very peaceful. Just laying in my tent or, just laying by the river and just listening or closing my eyes, letting nature, it was actually very, very relaxing. And it took a minute for me to let myself go there. But then I started to realize like why people enjoy that. So that's pretty cool.
I long for that. We're talking about it right now. I want to be in the mountains, man.
Yeah. I've never done anything like intense like that. Like I said, Northern Michigan has some pretty cool trails.
Absolutely.
But that was pretty cool. Random fact about you: you said you do a pretty decent Donald Duck impression, but for special occasions only. So I guess I have to ask: is this a special occasion?
Well, see, I checked with my talent agent, and he said that we're actually on loan to Disney, and my voice belongs to Disney,
So we can't afford you.
I don't even know if there is an amount. I mean, Donald Duck is a pretty serious thing, but
Well, I'm hoping for a spontaneous Donald Duck answer to one of these questions, but I guess we'll just have to see. My old history teacher used to do a pretty good Donald Duck, and it's just like randomly in the middle of the history lesson, he'd start teaching in the voice of Donald Duck. I think when he started to realize that he was losing everyone.
that's what the tool was. When I was a kid, I was probably 11, 12, 13 years old. I started babysitting other people's kids, and when the kids would get unruly, I'd pull out the Donald Duck voice. I have no idea where I learned it from. I don't remember a day where I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. But now, as when I'm showing houses, it's a great tool for people when their kids are starting to get unruly and distracting their parents from looking at the house. Pull that out and we get their attention.
I love it. Stranded on a desert island, which sounds like wouldn't be so bad for you.
Right.
One CD to listen forever. You wrote CD with a question mark. Yeah, who has CDs anymore? It's funny. We found recently we had this big zip-up thing that has like 200 DVDs in it, which we haven't even seen in who knows. We don't have a DVD player in our house. And that was when it dawned on us that we don't have a DVD player because my kids were going through it like, oh, I want to watch this movie. I want to watch this movie. And we looked around like, we don't even have a DVD player anymore. And it's amazing because I remember when the DVD player came out, it was like cutting edge, state of the art. And now we just do everything digital. But hypothetical scenario, you're on an island, you somehow got left with a CD player. The album would be Set in Stone by Stick Figure. I'm not familiar with this one.
Not a lot of people. I found not a lot of people are.
What kind of music is this?
It's what we would call modern American reggae.
Okay. Set in Stone by Stick Figure.
Yes.
I would not have pegged you for a reggae guy.
Most people, when they hear that, they say the same thing. Family took a trip to Siesta Key a handful of years ago for spring break. We took a chartered tour around the intercoastal waterways, and the guy was playing some music that I hadn't heard before. I thought it was pretty good. And then a Sublime song came on. I said, yeah, okay, this is actually kind of a lot like Sublime, some of Sublime. And so I started asking the captain of the ship, tell me about who you're listening to. And Revolution was actually the band that caught my attention the most. But after listening to the genre for a handful of years now, Stick Figure's pretty top notch, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the cool thing about music is where it can take you. Like for me, I don't sit and listen to music hardly ever. Like if I'm driving and listening to something, it's probably a podcast. It's maybe sports talk. Like I don't just sit and listen to music. And some people find that surprising, but the music that I do like, it always has some connection to something in my life. Like, I mean, the theme song for my podcast, No Easy Way Out, is from Rocky IV. It's my favorite movie. It takes me back to a kid watching those Rocky movies and just loving, you know, that competitive. It's what built the competitor in me. And so it just takes me back to that place. And so having that, you know, that connection to something in your life, I think is what makes music great.
Absolutely.
A totally irrational fear. I thought this one was hilarious. I've never heard of this before. You said kites. You can't fly a kite or be close to someone flying a kite. What is this about, man?
I really, you know, it's some. My body goes into like I have to get down to the ground when I see.
You think it's going to
flying.
swoop at you or something?
I can't explain it. I can't explain it. I
always
guess
been
that's
there.
why it's an irrational fear. Probably is tied to losing a kite when I was a kid or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
getting away from me or something. But it gives me
Post-traumatic stress.
my hands sweat. My stomach starts to turn. Oh yeah,
That's crazy. That is hilarious.
I don't tell
I
a lot
don't
of
even
people
know that
that,
I've
so-
ever. Yeah, well, you just told a lot of people. I don't know that I've ever even flown a kite, so I don't really given myself the chance to be worried about it. But
my poor kids.
Yeah.
They had limited experience with kites when they were kids because their dad couldn't.
yeah, fortunately, Ben Franklin didn't have that that fear. All right, favorite movie or TV show? Stand By Me, classic '80s movie.
absolutely.
That's a good one.
I had a hard time. A lot of '80s movies that I would pick, but Stand By Me right now stands out.
That's a good one. Yeah, I think it's an underrated one. And then Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Never seen that show, but I've heard it's pretty funny.
Well, I'll just warn you that it's not family friendly per se. But they push all the hot buttons.
Yeah.
All the hot buttons going on, and usually it's something in pop culture or something in the media or whatever.
Love it.
But they present you with both sides,
Yeah.
which is awesome. But they do
Which
it in a
is
very
comedy,
creative
right?
way.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I love it. I'll have to check it out. One last meal, a hot, steaming bowl of kimchi
Kimchi jjigae.
jjigae. Okay, I thought I had that, and I have a picture of that here. Now, did you make this yourself?
That was made. Actually, that was our meal the night in front of the tent picture and the sky. The sky
You guys
pictures
made
there.
this like in nature.
Yes. So the guy that I do my out west trips with is a former Wausau resident. He happens to like Korean food like I do, and happens to make a mean kimchi stew.
So I mean, it looks like this got maybe some chicken, cabbage, or is that
Tofu.
Tofu, okay.
And kimchi typically is a cabbage kimchi.
cabbage? And then what's the broth?
The broth is mostly water, but it has, and I'm not going to butcher the gochujang sauce, which is a Korean red pepper paste. It's spicy.
What kind of seasonings?
It's red pepper, man. It's a
So
lot of red pepper.
It's spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love spicy food. It looks good. I mean, the closest thing I could compare it to, you know, is maybe like a pho, or that's more of a noodle based soup, but you know,
I'm a soup and noodle base
Really?
guy. Oh yeah, but
It looks good. I'd like to try it. I've never had kimchi.
we'll have to. You know what? The next time we go to East Lansing, I have a couple favorite spots over there. I'll bring a couple back.
Oh, that'd be
drop 'em
great.
off for you.
Yeah, I'd love it, man. I'd
right.
love that. Thank you. Any job in the world, what would you do? He said rancher, farmer, practicing regenerative farming techniques and permaculture principles. All right, so what's that?
It's way complicated. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's not complicated. It's a very, I guess I'll use a term in air quotes, old school farming method, but it's really the best for the land. It's best for the animals.
Yeah.
You know, and
No chemicals.
I know we have a lot of, this is a farm community, and I'm not bagging on the way our farmers are running their operations right now. But for me, the ability to graze cattle on some land, follow that with some chickens to spread the manure around and keep it fertilized, and you know have a cycle of grazing animals with birds kicking up and fertilizing the soil and not stripping the land. And then turning around and planting your crops in that soil. So you do it in paddocks and sections, depending on how much property you have. But healthy, no need for when you're grass feeding your cattle and you're free ranging and grazing your chickens. There's no need for antibiotics and fertilizers and all that stuff.
Why do you think more people don't do it that way? It's just not. It's just probably longer and more.
It's a longer process. You get less yield for sure. You know, it's not as efficient as modern.
It's not a way to grow a
agriculture.
business. It's a way to maybe live off the land.
Perhaps
Yeah.
there are people making a living with this. A ton of people making a living. Joel Salatin in Virginia, a farm called Polyface Farms, is one of the more famous ones. But here locally, not that long ago, we screened a documentary at the theater, at the movie theaters. Kiss the
we
Ground.
were there. We
Yes.
were there.
Oh yeah, you were there.
We
Yeah.
actually captured that for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you were there. That's what I'm talking about. That's
Yeah, okay.
A lot of the methods they talked about there, and the whole principle behind it. So, talking about peace and serenity, if I had my way.
Well, when I read Ranch Farmer, I'm thinking like John Dutton Yellowstone style. Have you seen Yellowstone?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So I could see that. Yeah, I would love to live on a ranch, and I don't know that my wife would be on board with that, but that'd be cool. Hollywood made a movie. You'd like to see Matt Damon, and you're like, holy, that's Jason Bourne.
That's right.
Great scene. I love Jason Bourne. So you're like, so the movie about you would be an action movie, or it'd be about a guy that hikes into nature and sells homes on the side.
Exactly. That'd be that, but Matt Damon would be best suited. You know, he'd be able to defend himself out in the wild like that. And,
Yes.
you know, and I guess if any clients got unruly, he'd be able to, you know,
Yeah.
put them into place.
My favorite scene from the Jason Bourne movies is I think it's the first one where he's sitting in that restaurant and he's like, he's talking to the guy about all these things that he can do. He's like, I know exactly how long I could run at this altitude. And like, he's just describing like, I know that guy over there can handle himself and he's packing a gun. And that just scene was awesome. So I could picture Jeff McIntyre in that role. Proudest moment or achievement? You said wife and daughters. May not be accurate to call them an achievement, but I will never do or be anything more important than my role in this family. So girls, it's a great answer from dad and husband. So no, that's a great answer. Proud of the kids.
Absolutely.
You have just girls, right?
Two girls.
Two girls. All right. Are they? How old are they now?
Well, my oldest just graduated. Well, not just graduated Grand Valley State University last year.
My goodness, are you
She's
serious?
Working in the big world now. Actually, she just moved to Bath. And
Makes me feel old. As I mean, when you guys used to come around the Comstock, she's just a little kid. Of course, I mean, I have two in college too, but it just you think everyone else's kids stay the same size.
Yeah. Talk about stage of life.
Yeah.
You know, hitting the big realization. We just moved her into another apartment last weekend in Bath with a boy.
Oh,
So,
that is a whole other stage of life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, both of my sons have girlfriends. We don't when they're in high school. We don't call them girlfriends, but we're friend girls. My oldest daughter, she's got a guy that I think they're pretty serious and are probably going to start talking about engagement here. But my middle two daughters have not started talking about boys yet, and I'm enjoying. Or my youngest two daughters, I'm sorry, have not started talking about boys yet, and I'm trying to enjoy that as long as I can.
Yeah. And my youngest is still at home with us. She's 17. She's a senior. So
That's crazy.
we're getting ready for big old graduation for her.
Empty nest.
Yeah, possibly.
Is she going to college?
She will. She may take a gap year
Yeah.
and do some online stuff, but
Yeah.
she's definitely college bound at some point.
Yeah.
and she doesn't want to leave our local theater. She's a theater nut.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. So
That's cool. That's cool. We have a great local theater.
Yes, we do.
If you had one wish besides unlimited wishes, what would you wish for? You said, and I love this answer, that we could have the Bad Boys era of the NBA back. Not just the Bad Boys, but the way the NBA was. It was worth watching then. You know, it's so fun. I just had Hank Sizemore on the podcast. He works for the Pistons, so I was wearing all my Bad Boys gear. I'm a huge Pistons nut, basketball nut, as you know. But, man, the Pistons get such a bad rap because if you watch the Knicks from that era and the Celtics and the Sixers, they all were beating guys up.
And the Lakers.
They were all beating guys up. I mean, so I know for some reason the Pistons kind of built an identity around it. I think that's why. And they won championships using that method of basketball. But, man, just seeing guys, like, play with a chip. I was just talking to Hank about this, like some of the young core that our Pistons have now. Like, we just traded Sadiq Bey, which I really liked him because he kind of played that way. And then we have this Isaiah Stewart. He's the guy that went after LeBron when LeBron was, elbowed him. So I love seeing. It's not that it's not the fighting necessarily, although it's entertaining to watch the fighting, but just guys playing hard and playing with a chip and like playing to win and not just playing for the contract. And you just don't see that much anymore.
No, I don't tune into the NBA much anymore because of that. It just doesn't feel the same. I mean, now you can imagine the Bad Boys. They wouldn't last. I mean,
they'd all foul out in the first quarter.
Absolutely, technical. Yeah, basketball back then was a bunch of men wanting to win. You know, I know the money started getting big right about that time for those guys. But
that's when they started getting the big kind of. When people realized, and it was because of Michael Jordan, when people realized the marketability of these players,
absolutely,
it went crazy. And I mean, I remember. Guys that are Hall of Famers now making $1 million a year or less, playing. And now, the contracts these guys get $40-50 million a year is insane. And, I guess as a business, if you have a $50 million asset, then you're going to do everything you can to make sure that person has a long career. And that's why they have these games where they're resting the players and, the refs are protecting these guys from, a lot of contact. And, so it certainly, feels a lot of times more like a business than, competition. I don't know if you watched the NBA All-Star game this year.
I didn't.
But it was the worst thing I've ever seen. I mean, it literally was like 180 to 175. It was zero defense. I mean, less than zero defense. Just guys running down and dunking and shooting threes. And it's like there's just no entertainment value there. It
becomes an exhibition game at that point more than anything else.
Yeah. And, I know a lot of people, my kids laugh, like, oh, you old guys all think that basketball was so much harder back then. And the truth was it wasn't necessarily. I mean, the athletes today are incredible. Like, an athlete like LeBron James or a shooter like Steph Curry in that era. I mean, imagine, seeing them play. But the thing is, like, they wouldn't have been able to get to the basket as easy as they do. They wouldn't have had open shots like they have. And so that's the part that I try to tell my kids. It's not that these athletes aren't we probably have better athletes today, better trained, better facilities, but they, the defense was nothing. It is today nothing like.
I mean, Jordan rules.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Hack a Shack.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like the 04 Pistons, when they won not because we had really any one offensive player. We won by defense. I mean, we had that streak that year where we held teams under 70 points like 6 or 7 games in a row in the NBA.
Right.
Like now the teams average like 110 points a game. So to hold an NBA team 7 times in a row under, I mean, so you just don't see defense anymore. No. Like, actually you see these college guys coming out and saying it's easier to score in the NBA than it was in college because they're just not playing defense like they were. So, I'll be an old head. I'll be one of those guys. It's like, this ain't basketball. So, I coach high school, and I tell my guys, like, don't watch the NBA, and I'll watch it for entertainment. I go to probably 10, 15 Pistons games a year because I'm a fan. But I watch it more for entertainment than I do for like pure basketball. If I want to watch pure basketball, I try to watch some college ball. But even college ball is getting a little crazy. But
watch some small college, good high school basketball is.
Well, and now that they have this NIL thing, I think you're going to start seeing. And I don't have a problem with guys getting paid when they have a big name. But I think what you're going to start seeing is similar things happen in college that colleges are going to realize they have this guy for 1 year, and they're going to protect him, and they're going to, not put him in tough situations, so that he doesn't get hurt, because they realize they're curating this multi-million-dollar asset. And it's tough. As a business owner, you're like, well, I gotta
understand it,
but it's from a fan standpoint, it's not like it used to be. So, all right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your journey. Every entrepreneur, every business owner, every person has a journey to get them where they are. You said you're born and raised here in the area. I know we grew up playing a little league ball together, little sandlot ball.
Yep.
We used to have some good battles back in the day. So did you did you graduate at Wasso?
I did.
Okay, and then did you go to college somewhere?
Nope, I left. I was here for a few months and went to the Army.
That's right. Well, thank you for your service. You served to the Army for 3 or 4 years.
3 years.
And then came home, and what happened after that?
Well, I eventually ended up working in the electronics industry with electronics manufacturers, and I programmed machines that built the circuit boards, basically. Okay. And, I'd always told myself when I got out of high school that I was never going to work with people and I was never going to work with numbers. So I found myself working with numbers big time there. Of course, we have customers and coworkers, so I'm dealing with people. But because of the family situation and trying to get here and being back into town or closer to town, I ended up moving to a company in Lansing that was half-hour drive away, but a smaller outfit that did the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing. I was tied to my phone at night. I was late getting home, that kind of stuff. And at that time, our second child was being born.
Yeah.
So even a bigger commitment to try to get back here. So I talked with Bonnie about fixing my situation and see what she thought. She said, "I think you'd be perfect for that." So there was a transition time though, where as a business person, but also as a person that has obligations at home, I can't do this full time without an income coming in.
For sure.
So
There's
I needed
the challenge.
It was a big challenge. And I was fortunate enough, I transferred to Northside's office in Langsburg. It was Northside West Realty at the time, and I worked with somebody, Dee Hafner. She ran that office, and she knew that there needed to be a jumping off point at some point in time. We got to get you into this full time, because it's really hard to build a real estate business when you don't commit full time to it.
Yeah.
And so she offered to pay me to do some of the marketing and build the website. And I'll remind, this was 2005, 2006.
It was like Dreamweaver or something.
Yeah.
What did you use to build a website?
It might have been Dreamweaver now that I think about it.
That's the way I did it back then.
Yeah.
Macromedia Dreamweaver.
There were, in Shiawassee County at the time, there were no companies that had their own websites. And I had my own and then built the company site. So she paid me for 90 days to do that, and said at that point, she asked me what I needed minimum financially every month. She helped me meet that minimum, and also, taught me a good part of the business at that point in time. So another shout out to Dee Hafner for helping me get started. But I would have never been able to go full time if it wasn't for somebody explaining to me that you're going to have to jump at some point in time. And then she helped me afford to be able to do that. So
So you worked for her, and then how long after that did you kind of start your own?
So I've worked with several brokerages in Shiawassee County over the years, but 5 years ago I started a branch office of eXp Realty.
So I was going to ask about that.
Yep. So we had the branch for 4 years, and the way this business works and many businesses work, you outgrow or your needs change, and it didn't make sense for me to be with a franchise anymore, and everything I was doing, all the systems I created for our office and everything were ours and not something that the franchise provided. So it just made sense to jump off and do this thing on our own. And now I have full creative control over everything. Processes, procedures, marketing, everything is sort of in our hands, and I enjoy the creative side of everything. So
I mean, there are some advantages to going with a franchise, or if you're doing a restaurant or a brokerage or whatever. But certainly if you can figure out a way to do it on your own, and you get a lot more flexibility, you can make a lot more money. But obviously, with those franchises come built-in systems and things. So a lot of people need that to kind of get themselves off the ground. So I asked one of the things about some notable achievements. You said one of the things you're proud of is thriving in one of the most challenging real estate markets of a generation. The mortgage crisis from 2007 to 2009 and the resulting years of depressed market conditions was challenging. Now you feel like that not equipped you with the knowledge and expertise to coach your agents to thrive in any type of market. That was a tough time. I mean, that was 2008 is when I moved to New York, and it was because of what was going on, in the market. I was working for a church, and, a lot of our people had lost jobs, lost their homes, and we just were seeking something different. But, do you feel like what we're about to see or we're going to go through will have any kind of similarities to 2007, 2008?
No, I don't necessarily, but a changing market or an imbalanced market. How about that? That was a buyer's market in 2008, 2009,
Sure.
big time. This is going to be and has been a seller's market for a number of years now, and out of balance. So it creates a different set of challenges. But the important thing is to know that fundamentals in business will always need to be there. And so teaching my agents that we have to still build the relationships. We still have to pay attention to those that help feed and clothe us.
For sure.
And keep those relationships and stay on top of market trends, everything else going on in the business. As long as you do that and do that well, it kind of doesn't really matter so much what's going on around us.
Exactly.
We can't control the economy, but we can control our economy.
We can be smart about it. Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, again, I think that's why it's important that you find an expert to talk to. I don't follow the market that closely, don't know much about it, especially the real estate market. And so I always want to, when I'm making any decision with my money or with my assets, try to talk to somebody who can help point me in the right direction. So, everybody kind of has a journey. Certainly you've had a journey here that's kind of led you to what you're doing today. So I would like to ask my guests to share with them some things that you've learned along your journey that might help, a young entrepreneur or someone that's an older entrepreneur that's trying to get it all figured out, or someone that's just, in a stage of life that they need to figure something out. What are some of the valuable life lessons that Jeff McIntyre has to share with our audience? Everybody needs a mentor. Everybody needs to continually learn. Real estate in particular, every day is something different. And I have started my 19th year in this business. I haven't seen everything yet, and I don't know everything, so I have people I look to as well. But whether you're getting started out, you need to be coachable, you need to be open-minded, but you need to be learning at all times. Just always learn. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the challenging things here. I remember saying, I think it was about 2 years ago, as our business was kind of at a pivotal tipping point, I would say, where either we were going to grow or we were going to just kind of stay the same and just maintain. And I remember saying to my wife, I'm like, I'm just at a point in my life where I don't feel like I want to learn more new things. Like, I just want to take the things I already know and maximize those. And, I had a mentor just said, you can either learn the things yourself, or you can be committed to knowing what's going to help you be successful and surrounding yourself with people that can help get you there. Absolutely. But either way, there's a process to learn. You can't get to the point where you're like, well, I'm just done. I've peaked. Because when you cap, then there's no more room for growth. Mm-hmm. And so giving yourself opportunity to either commit yourself to learning new disciplines or surrounding yourself with experts that can. And we have some great people here. I've been editing videos myself for 15 years, but the capability of my company and the videos we can put out is far beyond what I can do. Mm-hmm. I have guys here that are experts that know how to really tell a story through video. I can design a website, but the people that work for us can really create a functional, useful tool. And you can go down the list, anything that things that I've had to learn how to do and continue to either learn myself or find people that can help me get there. Mm-hmm. I think that's very, very important. You can't get to the point where you just say, well, I'm done learning now. So in your opinion, what do you think it is, some traits or some characteristics that set successful people apart from unsuccessful people? I do think it's the willingness to do what other people are not willing to do. We talk a lot in our office about being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. If it makes you uncomfortable, you're probably on the right track. Yep. So in the real estate world, it's cold calling, it's door knocking, it's a handful of things that make people uncomfortable. And if you're completely comfortable doing something, you're probably not doing it right, or you're not doing it enough. You're not doing it hard enough. Not doing it well because because you're comfortable. And you can always get better. So if you're looking to improve,
there's something there that needs to be done to make you uncomfortable, and you have to fail before you improve. You have to fail before you get better. So get out there and do it. But that's just it, I think. And then resourcefulness, and that's a really hard thing to teach. But resourcefulness to me is just knowing where to go to get the answer, or not giving up until you get the answer, or not giving up until you get the right technique, or until it starts working, whatever it is. But, when I started, I told you I did my own website in 2005. I didn't take a class. I figured out how to do it.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Just figure it out, and ask questions, and be willing to meet people, and submit yourself to being coachable.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. Anything that we do here, I didn't go to school for it. I don't have a degree. Just apply yourself to figure things out and learn it. It always amazes me how quickly some people, when they're presented with an opportunity, just immediately say, no, I don't have time for that. I don't allow myself to use the phrase, I don't have time. I use the phrase, I don't want to make time for that, or I didn't make time for that. But I think we give ourselves the outside, I don't have time for that. You have more time than you realize.
Absolutely.
And again, it's important to remember why you started. What do you want to spend your time doing? I've written a mission statement for my own life, and that is to be happy and spend as many days as I can doing the things that I love. So if I know, for me, I see an opportunity and I say, do I want to do that? Well, I look at, what is it going to take me away from? Is it worth it? Is it something that's a short-term pain for a long-term gain? I have a plaque in my office that says life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So I like to challenge myself to say, all right, I know that's going to stretch me. I know that's going to take more of me, but all right, let's consider it before we say no. What are the pros? What are the cons? And it really is amazing what you can accomplish when you just say, I can do that. I'm going to do that.
One of my favorite chefs in the world, a guy named Ferran Adria, Spanish chef, says, I know how to make omelets. I want to learn how to do something I don't know how to do. And check him out sometime. He's
What's his name?
Ferran Adria.
Ferran Adria, okay.
Yeah. Spanish, ran the best restaurant in the world for a number of years. Anyway, check him out.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I when I started this thing, actually yesterday was our 8-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
When I started this thing, thank you very much. When I started this thing 8 years ago in a little, basically, closet in my home, I would have never anticipated this beautiful space and overlooking downtown and being able to do the things that we get to do. And, a lot of people have asked that question, like, well, what was the key, or what is the... And I think really a lot of it is just being willing to try new things, being willing to do difficult things or things that you're not comfortable with, and putting yourself in situations that make you have to, stretch and think. And I like the challenge of it. Now, the thing that I found for me, because I'm willing to take just about anything on or try something, one of the hard parts I think that entrepreneurs should be careful of is when you have a team. Like, if you feel like you can thrive in chaos and it doesn't bother you, that same chaos that you kind of feel like, I love this, can really stress out and burn out your staff. Absolutely. And you can project that onto them. And even me, like, I've found, like, I'm a big idea guy. So I'll just start sharing ideas that I have, and all the staff is hearing is more work, and I'm freaking them out. So I've had to even be selective about how I present new thoughts and ideas. And, some of the times for me, like, 'cause I consider myself a visionary. When I have an idea, I immediately can see the end of it. I just see the end, and I skip over all the things that are going to have to be done in the middle because I don't worry about that. I just see the end, and I'm like, it's worth it. Like, even with our space, I can see what the space is going to look like at the end in my head. And my staff has seen me walk people through here and give them the whole, like, this is what this is going to be. And they're just like, yeah, you've been saying that for, a year or 2 years. But in my mind, I can see it, and I know what I'm working towards, and I realize that things take time. And so I think, if you're listening and you're an entrepreneur, don't be afraid to pull yourself out of your comfort zone. If you have a team, understand that they aren't going to process those changes or those new opportunities the same way that you are. And so find a way to lead, guide, inspire them into doing it with you, because it does take a team to get things done.
I experienced the same thing in our office. We're about systems and processes. And because I always am looking to improve those processes, sometimes it means change in systems or platforms. and I enjoy that stuff. Well,
Yeah.
my agents really just need to be nose down, working, doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, not having to change
Yeah.
platforms all the time. So
Yeah.
before I brought on these agents that are here with me now, I could tinker with it and it had no impact on anybody else. So we're set. Our systems are good. There's room for improvement without changing platforms, so that's good. Now I have to do all my tinkering at home with things.
Right.
I have a backyard little, I call it a farm, but
Yeah.
I always mess around and experimenting with things there so that I can get that creative
Yep.
part out and not have to
Absolutely.
mess around with it at the office. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, man, appreciate you sharing all this stuff with us. We have a segment on the show called Say It in 60. This is where we try to squeeze the last ounces of wisdom out of our guest. So we have 10 rapid fire questions that we ask you. I know you've probably seen these, the same questions for everybody, but there's no wrong answer. They're your answers, but then they'll just be online forever. So, don't say
Right,
anything
yeah,
wrong.
don't mess it up. Huh?
So Zach's going to give us 60 seconds on the clock there.
All right.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I do need to warm up here.
You need to warm up? All right.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Here we go. What is a must-read book?
Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl.
All right. What is a daily habit that everyone should do?
Stretch, move.
What is your favorite podcast?
Huberman Labs, Dr. Andrew Huberman.
I like that. Michigan or Michigan State?
Go blue.
Blue. What is your why?
It's a personal one, but I'll wrap it up or make it easy and say family.
Family. It's a good one. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Good man. Favorite quote?
This is hard. Play hard, no excuses, have fun.
It's a good one. Who said that?
Tom Harkema.
Okay. Yeah, I remember Coach Harkema. Must binge TV series.
Breaking Bad.
Good one. I love it. How much time? 15 seconds to tell the audience what is success to Jeff McIntyre.
For me, it's knowing that I'll never have to worry where my next paycheck comes from and that I have the ability to help other people rid themselves of that same worry.
Love it. 1 second to spare. He does it.
Did it.
Round of applause to the audience.
All right.
Good job, man. Well, listen, before we let you go completely, we're going to do what's called the Whisper Challenge. Have you seen the Whisper Challenge?
I don't think I have.
Oh, you haven't seen the
No.
Whisper Challenge. All right. So at the end of each episode, we give you some noise-canceling headphones.
Okay.
All right. We're going to go back and forth here. Zach has written down some phrases or words. I'm going to say it. He's going to play some music. I'm going to try to say it. You got to guess what I'm saying.
Okay.
And then we'll just swap. So it'll just be a little fun. All right?
All right.
All right. So he's going to hand this one's for me. We'll go 2 rounds. All right. Tell me when the music starts. Okay. All right. 3 words. Okay. Fear of kites.
Wow. Give me that again.
Fear of kites.
Oh, man. One more. Give me one more.
First word.
First word.
Fear.
Fear.
Fear. Yeah.
Fear of heights.
Kites.
Of kites. Fear of kites.
There you go. All right. All right. I'll take the headphones. Good job. Good job. Fear of heights is a good one. All right.
All right. 3 words.
3 words.
Uh-huh. The Bad Boys.
Do it again.
The Bad Boys.
Demand more.
Nope. 3 words.
Oh, 3 words.
3 words. The Bad Boys. Man, they're single syllable words. The Bad Boys.
The band. Is it the band?
We're close.
The
Close.
band?
Close. The Bad Boys.
The band.
Can I give you? Can we play charades with this? Can I play charades with it? Yeah, we'll go a little.
Oh, basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Bad Boys.
What's the second word?
Bad.
Band.
Bad. Bad Boys.
Oh, bad boys. The bad boys. It sounds like you're saying the band. Something.
That's hard because there's not a lot of enunciation in that word.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, did I hit a button?
Might have hit a button. Yeah, I do the same thing.
And when we're done with our 2 cards, I've got one for you.
Oh, you got one for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That sounds good. You got some air guitar going now. All right. One word.
One word.
Mentor.
Go again.
Mentor.
Feng Shui.
Mentor. Mentor.
2 syllables.
2 syllables. One word.
One word.
Mentor.
It's like French toast.
Mentor.
Control.
Men.
Men.
Tor.
Men.
Tor.
Mentor. Mentor.
Yes. All right. So you got this one and another one for me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This will be good. All right.
Okay. 2 words.
2 words.
Jason Bourne.
Justin.
Jason Bourne.
Just guitar.
No, sorry.
Oh.
Jason Bourne.
Justin. It sounds like you're saying Justin Pork.
Almost. It sounds like that.
Is it 3 words?
2.
Justin. Oh, 2 words.
Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne.
Keep it on. I got one more for you.
I'll keep my headphone. Oh wow! Like you're chewing tobacco. I assume you're doing the Donald Duck because he's laughing. You said Donald Duck? Can you do it so I can hear it? Oh wow, that is pretty. That is strong. That is strong. That is very strong. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the show today. Appreciate finally been able to make this happen, and wish you all the luck and all the things you're doing, and keep up the good work. And man, what are you gonna do when you get rid of both girls? What does that stage of life look like?
Well, my wife likes the beach and I like the mountains, so I think we're going to do a little bit of traveling.
Yeah. Drop her off at the beach while you go to the mountains.
And I don't mind the beach.
I don't like the beach at all. My wife loves the beach. It's probably one of the last places I want to be. Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like the sand. I don't like the heat. I don't like all of the non-overweight people walking around in non-overweight clothes.
Going off, right?
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
I hear you.
why are you judging me? But yeah, I'm probably one of the few people that don't like the beach. I would rather be in the mountains. So, but yeah, man, thanks again. I appreciate it. Good luck
awesome.
to everything you're doing. And when I know you're getting ready to possibly start a podcast.
Absolutely.
So when you get ready, let us know whatever we can do to help. Get your studio set up, or if we can help with production or anything, we're happy to help. That we've actually produced 4 or 5 other podcasts for other people as well. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of work, but I enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing it. Maybe someday I can be a guest on your show.
Would love to have you.
Yeah, man. All right, thank you. Before you go, I want you to look into this camera, and I want you to plug whatever you want to plug.
All right. Do I get more than one thing to plug?
Whatever. I mean, you can plug 100 things.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll start with the obvious. If you're looking to buy or sell in this market anytime in the next year or two, give us a call. We have great agents, highly trained, highly attentive. 989-725-5088 is our phone. By the way, that's my childhood phone number.
Really?
Yes.
Nicely done.
989-725-5088. Also, this town is filled with a lot of great nonprofits, a ton of great nonprofits. When it's time for you to give, you get a little extra money, think about them. I am in support of, and I know it's not what's considered a humanitarian necessarily nonprofit, but Lebowski Center for Performing Arts is a great organization, provides a lot of opportunities for a lot of great, talented people. And if you're into the arts or creativity, you get to see on display what kind of talent there is associated with the theater. They're incredible. They've been great to my family. There's just so much going on there as far as talent. They're telling some great stories. So check out Lebowski. There's some tribute concerts coming this summer. There's an exciting arrangement made between Lebowski and the city of Owasso regarding.
There's a CCR.
There is a CCR,
tribute band coming. Zach, we have to go check that out. A little Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yes, this summer though, you're going to see us at You're going to see Lebowski at the amphitheater. They've taken over bookings for those shows, so really looking forward to that. So check out Lebowski Center for excuse me, it's a hard one to say.
Yes,
Cut.
Easy for you. That's the great thing about a podcast. You're allowed to mess up.
Lebowski Center for Performing Arts, and one of the many humanitarian type nonprofits we have here. This is a great community for that.
Awesome. Well, go check them out. If you haven't seen a show at the Lebowski, definitely go check that out. They do a really good job down there. So, well, thanks again, man. We'll be talking to you soon. I look forward to seeing your new podcast when it comes out.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for watching. As my mother always said, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.